The mayor, Councillor Babatola, the mayor's parlor, the mayor of the Royal Borough of Greenwich. Come on, let's Thank you very much, sir, for giving us your time. Also, we have, all the way from Enfield Council, Councillor Yasmin Brett, the Cabinet Member for Community Organizations and Culture. Come on, let's celebrate Councillor Yasmin. And she's here with Mom as well, and Roseline. And Roseline. We also have a representative from the Home Office, the National Community Engagement Lead, in person of Mrs. Oluyemisi Jenkins, MBE. Thank you very much. Also, we have another powerful woman in our midst. She's the CEO of Africa. If you want to know who Africa is, please see her later. She's Mrs. Debbie Ariyo OBE. Thank you very much. Also, we have a consultant surgeon, Dr. Mr. Ben Okafor. Come on, let's celebrate. And when you think about the media as well, we have some special people in our midst. We have Radio Nigeria and NTA, Mrs. Awa. Come on, let's celebrate that. She's powerful. Also, we have the Urban Jazz Radio CEO, Mr. Soji and his crew. Thank you very much.
Prior to directing this movie, I didn't really know Roseline. I met her through a mutual friend, Ken Hayes, there. And then she spoke to me about the movie and she gave me the script. When she gave me the script, I didn't really know it had to do with modern day slavery. I just felt it was a movie to direct. I was excited about directing my first movie because I physically worked in television. So when I read the script, I was instantly hooked on the story. And I just thought to make it, to talk about how we can make it more, the message more powerful. And so we talked about the characters and developing them and making them more complex. Because when you talk about modern day slavery, people assume the perpetrators are monsters. And this movie will try to make the perpetrators not necessarily like a monster. I'm not saying that people who are perpetrators of modern day slavery are not really bad people, but I feel it's more complicated than that. That's for making a movie. So we decided to focus on the character, not the victim of the, and see her motivations for what she's actually done. It was a good experience, but I think it's a movie that people should actually see. Because the message it carries and the production value. Because for me, it's not just about making a movie, it's about making a good movie. the story, the picture quality, the acting, all of that come into play. So I'm happy to have met everyone here, and looking forward to seeing you guys on the 9th of June. To see the movie. I'm very going to enjoy it if you come and watch it. All right.
So I'd like to invite the production manager, who is also a movie icon. He's been in the industry for over 20 years. Although he doesn't look it, and you know the reason when he comes. He's been a production manager for years, and I think after a while, after making so much money, he decided to retire. Then Roseline had to call him back into the industry. He's a poet as well, a humanitarian crusader. In fact, when we were having the movie shooting and all that, I called him, or I used to call him King Solomon. You know, he's a wise man, and I know there's something peculiar about Solomon. I'll leave that to your imagination. Please join me in celebrating the production manager, Chief Kemeh.
Thank you very much, Shay, for the introduction. I welcome all of you here today. Today is a day that I want each one of us to look back in the nearest future and be proud of this day. Thank you for taking your time out to come here to grace this occasion. Thank you for believing in this project, and thank you for not keeping quiet to the ills that affect the society at large. The movie In a Strange Land is not your everyday movie. It's just one of those stories that people sweep under the carpet, people frown at, people just act like nothing really happened, or it's normal. Nobody should be anyone's slave. Every each one of us here in this room deserves to live. We owe ourselves a certain degree of happiness, freedom, and joy. So, my good friend Roseline Sanni-Ajose and we have a project, we're working together. And all of a sudden she said to me, "Can I have an idea? Why don't we leave this project and pick up this one?" And I said, "Which one are we doing next?" She said, "It's about modern day slavery." Now, I love humanity. I believe in you and I. I believe that where there is love, we can all be happy and give everything we have. So, this special lady actually made me to go back home and carry out an in-depth research. And I realized that modern day slavery is not modern, it's slavery. It's forget the image. Slavery anywhere is slavery everywhere. So, be it in the past, slave of the past, slavery today is slavery. So, we decided to come with this movie. And it was a task, getting people to believe in this cause, getting people to understand that this is not about profit. Because we make movies to make money, but this is a different thing entirely. This is trying to reach out to the people. That some of us here, we know that these people are people we see every day. To those of us that are from Nigeria, we know that by the time you attain a certain height in your life, you're entitled to one house girl or one house boy. And most that these people you call house girl and house boys are siblings, family, friends, or brothers, sisters, and that is how it starts from. But a little girl of 12 goes about her business, and she breaks a plate from the kitchen. You see the slap. But your own 12-year-old, you don't give them that much. That's slavery. Let it sink. That a boy of 8 has to wake up as early as 4 a.m. to iron your clothes because you have to go to work. You have to leave the house by 6. And because the boy was picked from the village, you deny him his sleep. That's slavery. So we cannot bring everything into the movie. But a movie, we're not promising that the movie is going to change everything. But we're guaranteeing you that this movie will spark the changes. And it can only be achieved when we all come together and fight this evil. And this is what In the Streamline is all about. Thank you very much.
I'm a ceremonial mayor, which means I'm not political. Having said that, during your tenure, you are allowed to have two charities. One could be within the borough, and the second one could be international. And I'm so proud that I have chosen African United Against Child Abuse. And I chose another one called Artway Project, which is local. But one thing about modern slavery is, as you said, it hasn't just started. Even it started among ourselves. Even back home where I'm from, Nigeria, there are certain tribes that usually you go and get people from there, which I'm not going to name, but for those of us who know that. But anything due to culture, religion, or upbringing that abuses people, I'm against it. That's one of the reasons I'm supporting Africa. So, and I'm prepared to support you on this if there's anything I can do to support you, not financially, as you know, but if there's anything I can do, because I don't want you to say, oh, you said, whatever I can do to promote, this film, I will do it within my limit. But as I've said, I'm a ceremonial mayor, and the political aspect of it is for the leader of the country. However, if there's any area you want my council to be of assistance, if you email me, I can send it to the right department, which there's no harm in asking. Okay? So thank you all for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming, and we need your support to raise this awareness. We cannot do it alone. We believe that with your support, we can go as far as we want to be able to educate this country's into the future generations. So once again, thank you very much for coming, and I want to thank my I don't know what to call her. She's a man woman. Yeah, I say she's a man woman because there are times that you come across people, they approach you with their ideas, and you say to yourself, do I fit in there? But the moment we discussed how to do this project, I said to myself, this is exactly what I want. This is where I fit in, and we managed to produce this movie. And I thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to experience this journey. This is just the beginning. There are more issues out there. We'll bring them out. Because this is our generation. We want to have a good foundation for our youth. And the youth that will come after those youth to follow, make a better place for them. Thank you once again for coming.
In 1999, I think, a little girl called Victoria was tortured to death in this country. How did that happen? A distant relative of us who was living in France decided she wanted to migrate here to the UK. And I know at that time there were lots of Francophone people, once they get their papers in France, they want to come to the UK because the racism is less and it's easier to get jobs and so on and so forth. So she wanted to move here. But to make her life easier, she felt she needed a child, somebody she could pass on as her own child, because then it would be easier to get benefits, housing benefits, all forms of benefits. So what did she do? The first thing she did, she was able to procure a false passport. No, it was a genuine British passport. And she had a child's name on it called Anna. And then she went back home to Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. And she was about coming back with Anna, because Anna actually is a real girl. She was about coming back to Europe with Anna. And her father said, no, I changed my mind. I don't want my daughter to go with you anymore. 3 days to coming back. 3 days, she had no child. So, and that was her main aim for going back. Then she went for a funeral, and she met Victoria Kimbe's father at the funeral. Very, very unfortunate. Number one, he just lost his job. He was struggling. Victoria's mother was a petty trader. They are selling little stuff on the roadside. So, unknowingly, he invited her to come to our house. So they're distant relatives. You know, you haven't seen them in many years. Oh, please come to my house. And then he introduced her to his family. This woman saw little Victoria, and she felt her prayers had been answered. And she was able to convince the father and the mother, you know, you're struggling, I will look after her for you. She can come with me. She will go to school, it's free education in Europe, and she will come back, maybe she'll be a lawyer, a doctor. She can come back and look after you. And that is the mantra that traffickers use to deceive families back home. So, of course, they were happy. Their own child is going to Europe. Who would have thought? So this girl was taken to France, and the abuse started from there. Eventually, she was able to migrate here. The first thing she did was to go to Ealing Council, housing department, and say to them, I've just come from France. I'm here with my daughter. We're homeless. And they told her, well, sorry, there's nothing we can do for you because you don't qualify for benefits. You've only just come. You need to have waited for about, I think 6 months at that time. She was homeless. She had a child she couldn't, look after. Very little money. And guess what happened? She blamed this child for her predicament. This witch child. It's because of you that everything was falling apart. And that's it. That's exactly the story. And within 3 months, this girl was tortured to death. She actually died because of the series of abuses that she went through at the hands of this woman. Yeah? So that's the Victoria Kemeh story. So she was 8 years old. My daughter was 8 years old. My daughter is 24 now. And this story really, really affected me. And I said, I really want to do something about this. So I set up the charity Africa in 2001. Since 2001, we have looked after over 400 children and young people trafficked into this country for very similar forms of exploitation. And I know most people don't know about this. So a lot of I'm assuming many people here, or most of us are Nigerians. So we have a lot of our children being trafficked here, like Victoria Kemeh, to claim benefits. We have many of our children being trafficked here for domestic slavery, which is what this movie is all about. We have many of our women and young girls being trafficked for prostitution. And it's a major issue now globally. Firstly in Europe, Nigerians are most likely to be trafficked onto this continent for prostitution. And as a woman, I've been to Rome a number of times. Trust me, as a black woman in Rome, you are most likely to be propositioned by somebody, because it's happened to me. Men will just come to you and ask you, how much? Now, if you don't know have you experienced it? Absolutely. I was extremely shocked when that happened to me. You will be prostituted. Why is that happening? Because of the high number of Nigerian women in Italy who have been trafficked, or maybe they're there willingly for prostitution. Any country you go to in Europe, Nigerian women are there being prostituted. In this country, domestic slavery is an issue. We've had some people being prosecuted. There was a doctor and his wife who brought this man from their village about 30 years ago. This man was locked up in their house for 30 good years. He was their slave. He saw all the children grow up. He was not allowed to leave the house. They never sent him to school. I have worked with children and young people here who, after we've rescued them, they've been in this country for like 10 years. They can't speak English, they cannot read, and they cannot write. Yeah? It is a calamity what's happening in our community. And I was very happy. So we've been doing all this work. We're trying to tell the policymakers, look, this is a big issue. We need to do something about it. So finally, if there's only one thing I like the Prime Minister for, is that she was the first person to say that we need to have a law in this country on modern day slavery. Theresa May. And in 2015, we had a law, and since then we've seen the number of people being prosecuted. But aside that, there's now some campaigns being run targeting our community, the Nigerian community. In this country, after the Vietnamese, maybe the Chinese, Nigerians come, either second, it keeps fluctuating, but we have hundreds of people from our country are being trafficked into this country every single year for prostitution, domestic slavery. If you know about what's happening in the Mediterranean, Nigeria is being moved en masse to Niger, Agadez. From Niger, they're moved. If they survive the movement from here to Niger, they have to travel through the desert to Libya. In Libya, people like you and I are being sold. There's a trade going on in people in Libya. And if they survive that, they now try to cross into the Mediterranean. You know what's happening in relation to the Mediterranean, the number of people being perishing, drowning in the sea. If they manage to get to their destination, which is usually Italy, Lampedusa, or any other islands, the traffickers are there waiting for them, distributed all over Europe. What is going on is disgraceful. It's a calamity, it's very shameful. And I'm very happy that we're supporting this movie because this is possibly one of the first few times we can focus attention on it. People need to know what's going on. And we need to start holding our government in Nigeria to account. Because that's one of the things I've been saying is that the British are trying their best, but there's nothing being done in Nigeria. Have you ever heard of anything? So we need to push the government in Nigeria to act on this issue. There are too many souls perishing, and the ones who are not perishing are suffering unimaginable, forms of exploitation and abuse in the 21st century. We cannot allow that to continue. So congratulations on the movie. I wish you all the best, and I'll do my best to help promote it as much as possible.
Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum also. First of all, I would like to thank you all very much for inviting me to this very important and meaningful gathering tonight. I bring greetings from Enfield Council, which boasts one of the most vibrant Nigerian communities in London. And in fact, Rosalind, the actress in this film, is our very own Nigerian girl. Is that not? And we are very proud in Enfield because we have already elected 2 Nigerian mayors. We had Princess Analu of the Igbo tribe, and we've had Councillor Patakechi also, so we're very proud of this. And the Nigerian community is one of the most important communities in our area. And I was very, very fortunate in being able to organize a St. Patrick's Day for you all this year, which was an unusual event. We hadn't done it before. Now, Inspiration, who have launched the film, are making a huge contribution to furthering understanding of human trafficking and modern-day slavery. 10 years ago, our council, Enfield, was the first in the country to put through a motion on this subject. And then we also put a plaque up on the abolition of the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. And I'm very sorry to say that the transatlantic slave trade may have finished, but the slave trade has not finished at all. There are at least 21 million people in slavery today, as you have said, of which 5.5 million are children, and 72% of these are in the sex trade. Terrible. Women. said, are in the UK today, mainly coming from Nigeria, Vietnam, Albania, Romania, and Poland. I'm proud that our previous Labour government in 2009 launched the National Referral Scheme, but as you have very rightly said, the 2015 Act came after a lot of pressure from Anti-Slavery International, which are a group that work very hard on this issue. And a trafficking statement was produced, and now it is incumbent upon all businesses, for example in the hospitality trade, to now look out for signs of modern day slavery. Now I, like you, have no money, I'm sorry, I'm not rich, but what we will do is we will go back to the local authority and speak to them about this film, because I think it's a very, very important issue that we all need to be on the lookout for. I felt terrible when I read the newspaper this week, and I read that the traffickers, when people are sick, and particularly Nigerians, too sick to go on the boat trip, they were asking the colleagues to either shoot them or bury them alive. Can you imagine that? Bury them alive, human beings just like us. Shocking. So, we need to look at this, because the people whom this is happening to are our brothers and sisters. They are no different from any one of us. And you can count me as your friend. I will be there with you on this subject.
Now we don't talk to butter. Family to smile and we no get quanta. That we just say Yoruba, make them no go forget say Madonna Baba. Eruku de Shiaka.
Life is all about the money, give me the money, Life is all about the money, I want to low, I want to lola, I want to buy Bugatti, I want to Kim Kardashian, never come a brand new Bentley. Is it because I'm ballin'? They want to draw my ginger, they want to hear my story.